Hi guys, Dave with First Place Auto Parts. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at the top 3 most common issues that affect the GM square body trucks. Look, square body trucks are everywhere we look now. You might find one at the Home Depot in the parking lot, get it loaded up with home repair materials to fix the old house. We're seeing them at car shows. Yeah, they're showing up with a lot of frequency, especially the Blazer variations of them. And even the big auto auctions, the Meekums and the Barrett Jacksons. Look, these things are going for big money and they're only getting more expensive. So the GM square body is here to stay, and in today's video, we're going to identify the top 3 issues so that when it comes time to buying your square body, you're prepared. Now the good news is the automotive aftermarket, it has you covered. They make a ton of restoration performance parts that you can make your truck into anything you want it to be. The bad news is that more than likely, you're gonna have to do one or all 3 of these things to any truck that you buy. Look, they're over 30 years old at this point, so the reality is there's gonna be a little elbow grease. It's cool, you can work on them yourself, but you're gonna have to do some of these things at some point, more than likely. So let's go ahead and get started and look at the number 1 common issue that affects all GM square body trucks. Hey guys, if you like today's video, please consider subscribing to the First Place Auto Parts YouTube channel. We're going to continually be adding new videos every week where we show you how to put new parts on. We take a look at the latest parts that are available, and we go to some pretty cool car guy stuff I'm pretty sure you're going to want to see. And the number 1 issue that affects all square body trucks, and we're going to lump this just under one word, and that's called rust. Bare sheet metal, either due to not being painted correctly, stone chips that damage the paint, or through the assembly process where 2 pieces of metal are joined through the spot welding process, are all scenarios where rust can and will start. And the steel that GM used when they made your truck was relatively unprotected on the backside. Look, it had painted and things of that nature, but steel is made up of a lot of different organic materials. If it's not properly protected, that steel is in a race to revert back to its original state, which is rust, which is to break down and go back into the soil, and that's something that we don't want. Now the square body truck is prone to rusting in some very specific areas. It's common across the whole truck line. The reality is that dirt and debris, road debris, even dirt and mud get caught up behind some of these areas and they can't get out. And what they do is they collect and hold water in that area, which promotes the rusting process. Somewhere around 1973 to 74, GM started to use better primers and galvanized steel to try to curb this process, and really all we can say is, nice try, GM. Common rust areas are the bottom of the doors, rocker panels, the leading edge of the hood, above the front and rear wheel openings, and behind the rear wheels are all areas that are prone to rust and rust through. Another area that is prone to rust through is where the passenger side, front, and rear wheel housing meets the battery tray. Rust doesn't stop until it has been cut out and replaced with new steel. You just can't treat rust and hope it goes away. You've got to replace the metal. And look, most people know this by now, but when you go look at your Chevrolet square body, take a strong magnet with you and check around those areas where rust is prone to happen. Look, if there's a lot of Bondo or if plastic filler is more than an 1/8 inch thick, sometimes I've seen it as deep as a quarter. I've seen a 1/2 inch thick Bondo, which is bad. The magnet either won't stick or stick very well. So make sure that you check those areas so you know what you're getting into. Look, if your truck or the truck you're going to buy has a lot of Bondo in it, they filled in the holes with maybe chicken wire and Bondo to try to sculpt that area to make it look like new. The reality is rust doesn't stop. If you're looking at a truck that has a lot of Bondo in it, make sure you plan that you're going to have to replace those panels at some point, which means grinding the old Bondo out and welding in, or cutting out the damaged sheet metal and welding a new panel in. Now the one thing that I'm always wary of, look, I appreciate it, but I'm wary of, is a truck that's been freshly painted, because new paint can hide a lot of sins. It's because fresh paint can hide rust for a short amount of time, but not forever. Those raised bubbles we talked about that are hard to the touch but visible on top are sure signs that there's rust present beneath the paint and expanding. Eventually rust will push and crack the paint open, allowing that water to penetrate, and once this happens, the rust will grow and begin to consume the good metal surrounding it. The second most common issue with GM square body trucks is that all the rubber products tend to break down, they get hard, they crack, or they fall apart that are on the truck. Look, these things are 30 plus years old, and rubber is made up of products that basically dissipate over time. The chemicals dissipate, they get hard, the rubber breaks down, especially with UV light. And a lot of these trucks sat outside when they weren't being loved, and those things tend to break down. So rubber products that make up a large portion of your truck, whether it's suspension, the body, or even the interior, these things are all breaking down at an accelerated rate. So that's going to be your number 2 most common issue that you're going to have with your GM truck, is you're going to have to replace a lot of the rubber products that came with that vehicle when it was new. And the third most common issue is really a collection of smaller issues that are specific to the GM SquareBody truck. These specific issues include hoods that buckle on the passenger side in front of the hood hinge, door hinge bushings that wear out with frequency, allowing the door to sag and wear the door striker, dash pads that crack near the speaker and defroster vents. And the 2 final common issues, and look, these things are still fresh in my mind because I just did them on my 87 C10, is 1, dropping the fuel tank. My skin is almost healed from that process to replace the fuel sending unit. It's not much fun. And the last thing is, if you ever want to take the transmission out of your truck, maybe to replace or repair or upgrade it, getting the upper 2 bell housing bolts on these things can be a real bear. Unless you have a lot of extensions and some flex joints, you're going to learn how to develop a whole lot of new cuss words in the process. The great news is, and I'm going to quote Spicoli here from the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, if you or your dad are a refrigerator repairman and have an awesome set of tools, you will have no problem working on your GM SquareBody truck. Look, I'm not going to lie to you, fixing sheet metal, that takes some welding and some cutting. But the reality is the reproduction sheet metal replacement panels are so much better than they were 10 years ago, they make the job all that much easier. And there's no denying that these trucks are hot right now, so make sure if you ever wanted one of these trucks, you get in line and get one right now, because the values are only going up. Look, they're infinitely usable and they're still a truck, so you can use it every day as a truck if you wanted to. Not to mention they're a throwback to a time when things were a little bit simpler. Look, these things were pretty basic inside, and that's why we love them so much. They're not these ultra comfortable, kind of a car converted into a truck thing that we have today. Don't get me wrong, new trucks are beautiful and they're really nice to drive, but these SquareBody trucks are just fun to drive. I drive mine because I want to, not because I have to. The automotive aftermarket has made it easy for us to restore. The flaws that we've talked about, the common flaws, they're all repairable. And the cool thing is they're repairable at your own home. You don't have to farm this stuff out. Even if you have an interest in a little bit of mechanical ability, there's enough material out there to be able to fix any truck. Hey guys, I really appreciate you watching this video, and hopefully you found some of these things informative if you're looking to buy a GM SquareBody truck. Look, they made a ton of them from 1973 to 1987. If you have an interest, go out and get one now because the prices are going up, up, up. If you think I forgot something when you're working on your truck that you found to be a common issue with these trucks, let me know in the comments section. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, keep the hammer down and keep it between the guardrails.